What is up, guys?
We going?
What is up, guys? I am Joseph, this is Joseph's Place, and welcome to this episode of XP Waste, where I waste a few minutes of your time to give you an opinionated speech about RuneScape-related updates and features. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about Deadman mode, the newest brainchild of the old-school RuneScape team. Now, before I get into the opinionated part, I'm going to do something that most opinionated people don't do, and give you the facts-ish. Now, I say ish because these might not be the actual facts by the time you're watching this video, because these are subject to change, but as the poll was just released today at the time of recording this, I'm going to give you the facts of what they were then. So, what is Deadman mode? Deadman mode is a new style of playing RuneScape. It brings a whole new dynamic to the game in the fact that everything is PvP. Now, this entire world will be PvP except for a few designated spots, and these spots are subject to change. I'll put up the picture of what I think is the most recent safe zones, or a map of the most recent safe zones, but it will not include efficient training areas. They're going to try to keep it just to very limited areas to where you can't train efficiently in these areas. So, Deadman mode, basically, you load into the world, you play the game like normal, however, anyone can kill you at any time. Now, you may be thinking, why would I want to do this? Well, it's open world PvP survival, basically. You get 5 times the normal XP that you normally would, so you are able to get levels a little bit faster, but with the risk of being killed at any time. Now, when you kill someone, or when you are killed, let me put it in the view of where I will probably be on the getting fucked end of the scale. When you get killed, you will lose everything in your inventory as well as an inventory of your bank. The person who kills you gets a key that allows them to take 1 inventory's worth of items from your bank. Now, as far as I know, I'm not sure if it's at any time they can take this, or if they have to do it immediately, or if stacked or noted items count. I've been doing most of my research through Reddit, as we know, the best place for research. See the Boston bombing. But that is what I believe. I think it's just what they'll probably do, aside from stutter constantly, which is what I do all the time, what they'll probably do is make a time limit to where you have to retrieve those items from the people you killed, and I would assume it would allow stacking, maybe not notes, but probably stacked items. So that's what happens when you die. Now, you are able to ensure certain items, but if they are on your person when you die, you will lose them. Now, say you get a whip. You can ensure that for a set amount of money in your bank, so if you die while it's in your bank, you keep it. But if you're using it as an attack weapon and you die, you will lose it. You will also lose 50% of your total XP. All of your skills will be cut in half by 50% XP, except for 5 skills that you can lock in or ensure or save. Only 2 of those can be combat skills, so you're able to save 2 combat skills and 3 non-combat. Now, personally, if I was going to just off the top of my head guess what better ones or what good ones would be able to be saved, I would assume things like strength or hit points or prayer in terms of combat, if you're going to stick with melee, as those will allow you to, still do things. And in terms of non-combat, probably ones that are a little bit difficult but kind of needed, maybe rune crafting because runes might not be super easy to come by, and other things like that. Now, I read somewhere that they may save quest XP, but I'm not 100% sure if that is confirmed. Now, what I would assume they would save is level 4 or level 3 herb lore that you get from Druid Ritual, because if not, if you die at level 3 herb lore, you'll not be able to train that anymore. So they'll probably set that to where you can't get below 3, just for the sake of not breaking the game. But other than that, I don't believe it has been confirmed yet. So moving on, they will have their own separate high scores for Deadman mode, which will be interesting because those spots will be even less secure than normal, because if you die, you will lose quite a few ranks, but it will be interesting to see how people progress into that. But I think the main thing that we can take away from the current dev blog, or the way they're treating this, is that they are listening to people and they are listening to opinions of how they can make it better, which is fantastic. Now, what I want to point out as being probably the best feature of Deadman mode is the fact that they will not release it until the servers are stable, which is awesome because the servers are currently not stable. The servers are honestly about as stable as my ex-girlfriend's emotional state, and really, that's not very good. So what really encourages me here is that they are actively trying to fix their servers, and if they're really pushing this game mode, that's obviously means they are focusing on their servers quite a bit, because they wouldn't hype it up this much if they weren't going to fix the servers for a year or two. So that really encourages me on the dedication of the old school servers. Okay, now we're going to get into the actual opinionated part of the video. So if you came for just the facts, I guess you can leave now or just stay, because you got nothing else to do except play RuneScape, so might as well. So now I'm going to get into how I think this is personally going to change the game, or for this mode anyway. And then I'm going to get into some pros and cons on, if I think this should pass or what happens if this passes. Now, if this passes, in terms of how the game will actually be played, I think it'll be quite a bit different, obviously, than you play the normal game. And mainly, I think clans will be king in this. Now, say you don't have a clan and you're going at this solo. Honestly, I mean, there are some positives about that. I mean, you'll get more in touch with your mom, I guess. You'll have more things to relate to because you will be getting fucked by everybody. It will just be a mass murder of people who want to kill you for your stuff. However, if you're in a clan, you have people to back you up, maybe, go raiding on other people, take their items, or if you die, track down that guy with some clan members and then just, get your stuff back, to say it in clean terms. But I think a lot of things will be focused on clan events, clan wars, and things like that. And I think that's great. And I think that's a really good way to keep the community kind of going, or to get kind of a reserved or tight-knit community in the clan side of things, which I think would be good, because maybe they'll give you an update, or maybe they'll come out with an update in terms of clans and how they're organized and how you can create them and just keep them going in terms of clan management. I guess that's the phrase I'm looking for. And I think that's great, because I think the current clan system is literally just a friends chat, and I would love to have some more management tools for that. Not that I am part of one or own one, but yeah, I think it would be nice. So I guess that's it for how I think it's going to be different, I guess. Main thing I was just going to say would be, clan-based, as well as, I don't know, the wilderness obviously won't have any effects, so I guess how things are played in the wilderness will play a huge part. AFKing will be put down to a minimum, because say you're, hunting black shins in the wilderness, you don't AFK that shit, and I feel like that's going to be the same way as training in this new mode will be that same way. AFKing will be reduced greatly, and honestly, I think that's good for the game, having people actually pay attention to the game and actually think about the game a bit more strategically. Now, I'm going to go into some pros and cons on why you should or should not vote for this update. Now, currently it's passing with a 76% vote, but that could change at any time, and there's still a few days left in the poll. So, personally, let me start off. Do I think you should vote yes to this? I'm going to say yes. I think it's a good update, and I think it's healthy for the game. However, there are some downsides, and I'll get to those in just a few minutes. Now, let me come first with the pros of why I think this is a good game mode. First off, people are saying that it will cost too much dev time, and that's a bad thing. Normally, I would agree. However, it has been stated that this won't consume too much dev time. And also, what do you want them to spend dev time on? This is a great addition to the game. It's a new style of playing. It's a new concept, new content. And I think that's what a lot of people want. It may not please you specifically, but there is a large community for this. And I think that is a very good pro, especially since it won't cost too much dev time, but still will bring a new side to the game to people who want a more PvP-oriented game, but aren't able to, in the current live game of old school, there's not really a huge PvP market unless, you are actually just, PvPing in the wilderness. I think this gives a new survival aspect to the game, which I think can be healthy and may bring some people back to the game. Some other pros are that it could speed up certain updates, such as the servers being fixed or other things. They might find bug fixes a little bit faster, or just create some quality of life updates that generally you may not think of, but may be, instrumental to a PvPer, such as XP drops. Now, I know OS Buddy has XP drops, but not everyone uses the client, or not uses the OS Buddy client. If you look at the stats in OS Buddy, I think it's a little over half the people usually are using that client. And without that client, honestly, it's really hard to PvP because the XP drops are so instrumental in PvP. For example, if you're doing like a hybrid, even just simple, a melee range switch hybrid, and you're waiting to use your spec weapon until you have a high hit, the XP drops a lot faster than it shows on the screen, And honestly, having that in the actual client will be awesome. Now, I know that was voted on, but who knows how long it's going to take to implement, probably in a few days. But, just things like that would be really nice. I think it would help. This update would help to push out some updates. And overall, I do think the pros outweigh the cons, and there are many more pros, but I don't want to get into those specifically because I do want to bring some cons to this because I don't want people to think I'm completely just one-sided. There are some negative aspects. And the main one that I see, which would be the only one that someone could use to convince me to say no to this, is it splits the community. Now, the reason it splits the community is because it takes PvPers and takes them out of the live game. Now, this could be a pro or a con, depending on which side you're coming from. For example, if you're a skiller, this is a pro because it takes people out of the wilderness and puts them in Deadman mode, which is actually a really big pro if you like to hunt black chins or something like that, because it will just bring that fewer people to the wilderness and just put them in Deadman mode to people who actually want the PvP aspect. It's not going to completely eliminate those people, but it will decrease, I think, a few amount of those people. So that is a pro, but also a con because it kills the community, the PvP community in the live game. Not entirely, because there will still be people who want their accounts and just want to PvP normally, but it does take people away from the game and brings it to technically a separate game. This is different than Iron Man or Ultimate Iron Man because they are playing in a separate game. With Iron Man, you do kind of have a separate community, but they're still within the same game. With Deadman mode, it splits them to a completely different realm, which I think could be bad, but in this instance, I think I'm willing to overlook it because honestly, the way I see it is it's kind of a fun mode. It's not something you spend a ton of time on. Obviously, there will be those people who do spend a ton of time playing it, but I think for the most part, people will just log on to have a bit of fun and things like that. I don't think it'll take a large amount of people from the live game and have them just dedicate themselves to Deadman mode. But I mean, it's possible, but I don't see it happening on a large scale. So that's the only reason I would say that's not a huge downside to this. But other cons would include future dev time. Now, they said that it wouldn't take too much dev time now, but what happens in the future when they release updates to the live game? Do they release those to Deadman? And will they have to modify those to accommodate Deadman mode? We can't say yes or no now because we don't know what the future updates are, but it's possible. And it's possible it will increase dev time on certain updates that would otherwise be small, might make them longer in more bug fixing time, things like that. And, that could be a negative. Personally, I think the positives outweigh those negatives, but that's just my personal opinion. You have to make up your own mind for yourself on whether or not you want to vote yes or no to this update. I just wanted to give my opinion and kind of explain it if you weren't sure which way to vote, or you were just looking for someone to kind of explain it to you in a 13-minute long video that obviously most of you probably have not listened to, but that's beside the point. But that is all I have for this episode of XP Waste. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I do want to start doing these more, again, with larger updates, not smaller ones per se, but some larger ones I would like to kind of make this kind of video for, because I enjoy talking and I enjoy having an opinion. So if you liked it, be sure to thumbs it up. If you didn't, thumbs it down. If you want to share this with your friends, I guess that'd be cool. I'm kind of whoring myself out for views here, but for $27.50, I'll whore myself out for more, if you know what I'm saying. But I doubt any of you would pay me $27.50 for that, so I guess just ignore that. But again, if you want to share this with your friends who aren't sure or who are voting no for certain reasons, just show them this video. Maybe it'll give them another aspect, another side to view. But that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.